Welcome to the Early Years Together, the podcast dedicated to exploring the curiosity of early years education. I'm Deborah Brown.
And I'm Dr. Jacqueline Young. In each episode, we'll explore what really matters in those foundation years, when brains are growing rapidly, identities are forming, and very small interactions can spark a lifetime of learning.
So together we're going to dive into the practices, research and stories that shape high-quality early childhood experiences. This series concentrates on language development and supporting talk, and we've been discussing the everyday moments that make a big difference for our youngest children.
So if you enjoy today's conversation, we'd love for you to subscribe, share the podcast and leave us a review so more can join in our conversation.
And whether you're an educator, a student, a parent, or simply someone who cares deeply about children's early learning, you're in the right place. So let's explore together how we can nurture joyful, meaningful learning right from the very start.
In today's episode, we'll be focusing on a topic that sits right at the heart of inclusive high-quality early years practice, and that is supporting children who have English as an additional language.
And whether your setting has many multilingual children or just a few, the strategies we'll discuss today can make a powerful difference, not only in language development, but also in belonging, identity, and also confidence.
So let's start with the big picture. So children learning English as an additional language come with really rich linguistic and cultural resources. Research by Moll back in the 1990s, which originated in South America but actually are still relevant to the UK context, refers to a concept that they called the funds of knowledge.
So yes, Jacqueline, funds of knowledge, it's that theoretical framework for understanding and engaging with children's interests. So it refers to historically accumulated and culturally developed bodies of knowledge, skills and competencies that those households and communities possess. So those bodies of knowledge stem from everyday life, from work, from social networks, and also cultural practices.
Yes, so a funds of knowledge approach provides a framework for understanding children's lives and the potential of their families, communities and cultures to influence what they're interested in, what they might need to think about in terms of inquiries and in terms of knowledge building. The approach assumes that all families have this rich intellectual and cultural resource, regardless of the socioeconomic status of the family. It frames the cultural experiences of children as a positive.
Yes, absolutely. As we've referred to in previous episodes, the Help for Early Years Providers website, and again, we've linked that in the show notes. It talks about English society and talks about it being multilingual, with an estimated 360 languages spoken across the country. It also talks about the importance of a child's first language and how strong skills in that language can support the development of English. So I think we need to hold on to the fact that bilingualism is an asset and the first language has a continuing and significant role in the learning and acquisition of any additional languages. Children don't confuse languages, rather they use what they know, and they use that to help them make sense of new words and structures.
Yes, and that guidance, it talks about how when you maintain and value a child's home language, it also supports identity. That in turn supports a child's well-being. And like all other children, those learning EAL thrive and learn best where practice is excellent. So what's good for all children is also good for children who have English as an additional language. An inclusive attitude and ethos in this setting is essential. It's important that everyone believes that every child really matters.
So if we follow on from that principle that every child matters, we must remember that it is okay for children to speak in their home language while they're in the early years setting. Supporting of the development of that home language will also enhance a child's ability to learn English. Time spent speaking their home language may also offer children a welcome respite from perceived pressures they feel from speaking English.
And it's completely normal, isn't it, for children to mix up the two languages. So they might mix up English words and their home language. They might use grammatical structures from either of those languages, and that's all good. So this is part of the learning process. It will probably, the confusion or the errors in each language will probably lessen over time. And it's really important that practitioners acknowledge children's attempts to communicate, whatever that looks like for the child, whether it is spoken or not spoken.
Yeah, and we know that children who are learning an additional language may go through a silent period before they feel confident to use English. It's normal and it can last up to a couple of months. I think we just need to be aware that this is not a passive phase. Children may well understand much more than they can express. So we need to continue to expect the child to respond, but just try to avoid putting on too much pressure, even recognition of non-verbal responses.
And maybe perhaps just repeating back if there are errors, if a child's spoken and there are errors in what they've said, just very gently repeating back the sentence using the correct grammar and words if that's appropriate. And children may also go through a period of not wanting to use their home language. This could be for any number of reasons. It could be influence of peers, or it could be just exposure to that sort of dominant majority culture. If this happens, it's important not to get too alarmed. It's very common.
Yeah, and I think we just need to remember that relationship with parents and practitioners really encouraging parents to not give up using that home language. In the early years setting, it's important to continue to acknowledge and celebrate the child's home language and culture. So shall we consider some of the things that we can do to support children with EAL in the early years? Well, I think one of the major factors is that being interested, finding out as much information as possible about the child's language skills, both in their home language as well as in English.
Yes, Deborah, sort of talking to the children about the fact that they speak more than one language, acknowledging it, helping them to learn the names of the languages that they know. People could put up a world map and link every child to a place on that map, adding a flag for the country, a photograph, perhaps something that the parents think is important to share about that country as well. This can really help to demonstrate to everybody, to the children, the parents and the wider community, that different cultural heritages are really valued.
Yeah, and I think, as I've said, partnership and working with parents is really key. So encouraging parents to share a list of common words in the home language with the early years setting is a really important way of kind of us being willing to learn. So making your own language posters with the parents' help, especially with those really important phrases that are really pertinent to the child. And remembering that language can be encouraged in everyday moments like snack time, tidy up time, in outdoor play, and story time. These are opportunities where vocabulary can really be modelled. There are opportunities to extend language and also scaffold communication as well. Okay, so drawing the episode to a close, let's just revisit the main message of our chat today. We've been talking about supporting multilingual children, and that's all about nurturing confident, capable communicators who really just feel that sense of belonging. We've talked about honouring home languages, creating rich communication environments, building strong relationships. So we're not just supporting English, we need to be supporting identity, well-being, and also a love of lifelong learning.
And that really does bring us to the end of today's episode. We hope our conversation has sparked new ideas, encouraged fresh reflection, and reminded you how powerful those everyday moments can be. Thank you for taking the time to explore these ideas with us.
And if today's episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you have a moment, do leave us a review. Don't forget the Early Years Together podcast is great for sharing with a colleague or friend, as we really try to ensure that our work and our discussions come in bite-sized episodes.
Thank you for listening and for everything you do to champion children's early learning. Until next time, keep noticing, keep wondering, and keep creating those small moments that really matter.
And we'll see you in the next episode of the Early Years Together, when we will explore parent-child talk and how to make time for meaningful exchanges at home.
Goodbye.